FA Cup last weekend. We haven't actually had a chance to speak about that yet. How does it feel qualifying for the next round?
It's good. It was a bit of a there was a bit of a banana skin, aren't they, when you go against someone much lower than you? But we got the job done. We won convincingly, which is all we needed to in the game. There was some good performance out there, so it was a really good day for everyone. It was nice to see for the fans to see 7 goals at Hewish, probably for the first time in a while. So it was.
It felt like that goal glut was kind of coming because you've created lots of chances so far this season, but you haven't had that game where they've started flying in.
Yeah, no, their goalie was excellent for the first 15-20 minutes. Probably could have been more, but it was nice to have a game where we really did punish his team. I know the levels are different, so there's no disrespect, but we took our chances. On another day we could have had more, but I think it's always positive when strikers are scoring goals and the fans are seeing goals flying, really.
This will be game number 10 of the season this weekend, so you've had a chance to kind of assess the league and find your feet now. How have you found it so far, if you're looking at it?
It's a bit more unpredictable in terms of style of play, I'd say. I think when you're in the league above, it's probably easier to do analysis on teams you're playing against, and teams are a bit more consistent in terms of players' style of play. You kind of know what to get, and obviously you're going into games completely different. It's different going to Chesterfield, where you come away and think a point's a good result, where we're in a position this year where we want to try and win every game. So it's an enjoyable level, it is, but they serve up their different challenges, and sometimes going to games a bit more blind than you'd like to be, but it gives you a real chance to focus on yourself and not worry about the opposition too much.
Do you feel more pressure, given that you've just said that you're expected to win every game, you're expected to be towards the top of the table? Do you feel more pressure than you potentially did last season?
No, I think there's different. I think pressure is relative to the position you're in, isn't it? I think it's about learning to deal with pressure and making pressure bring out the best of you, really. I think I'd much rather have the pressure of being at the top of the table and winning than the pressure of scrapping around for points. It's a much more enjoyable situation, and although there's pressure, it allows you to be a bit more free, and it's there is pressure. There's pressure in football every game, no matter where you're playing, who you're playing for. There is pressure, and as I say, it's a different kind of pressure, and it's one we need to learn to relish, and the team really needs to learn to make that pressure positive pressure when we go out there, and prove a point every week we go out there.
Give us an idea of what the changing room's like now, because obviously last season you're just having blow after blow, and it becomes quite difficult to pick people up every week. What's the key differences, do you think, this season when you're walking into that changing room and you're talking to your teammates?
Obviously there's a wealth of experience in there this year, and it makes life easier in terms of delegation around the dressing room, in terms around the club. Things kind of look after themselves a bit more, and obviously winning is a much easier environment than losing, but it serves up its own challenges. Keeping boys level-headed. Just because you win one game doesn't mean you're going to win the league, and it's about that striving to be better every day. Pushing just because you won on Saturday doesn't mean you've cracked it for this weekend. It's building and trying to progress to where we want to be, and it is. It's a much. There's no. I think people would be stupid if I said it was a worse environment. It's a better environment when you're winning games of football and towards the right end of the table, but it's not becoming complacent, and it's working every day on the training ground like you want to be a champion come the end of the season, and that's the environment you have to try and build day to day in the dressing room.
You said you're not sure what to expect week for week. What are you expecting this weekend? What do you know about Hampton?
I think we know their shape in the last few games, but as I say, the teams are still searching at this time of the season to find their perfect formula. I think we're by no means the finished perfect formula ourselves, so yeah, we'll go into it with an idea of what they're going to produce. Players might change, they could throw a different shape at us, and especially when you're one of the bigger teams in the league, you find a lot of teams adapt for you. So you kind of go into a game thinking they've done this the last 2 weeks, but then they're playing a bigger team, they might change it up completely. So look, it's still a lesson, it's still a learning curve for us, but we'll go there focusing on us and believing if we do it right, we'll be able to get the job done.
What are away days like at this level? Because heading down to London, having conversations with other managers and players in this league, they say that the London teams are always quite difficult to go and face. Is that how you guys are finding it?
No, I think I've grown up in London myself, playing in and around London myself, so I'm kind of adapt to that. There's always a physicality which comes with London teams. There is, and from under 16s onwards, they used to be built like blokes at 15, and they are. I don't know what they put in the water around central London kind of area, but it's a challenge. But the away day experience is learning to adapt to the environment. It's at the end of the day, there's 11 players playing against you every single week, and it's how you find a solution to beat them on the pitch is all that matters. But the away day experience is not letting the environment be an excuse for you. I think we could say it's hard to go to London, but they're going to have to come here, and they're going to be the same group of players, so we can't use that as an excuse. You know what to expect, especially away from home. At this moment in time, the pitches are all to a relative standard, but we don't really know where that will be in January when the pitches are a bit more beaten up. So it'll be a different challenge then. But look, we're not looking to make excuses, and we'll go towards London way on Saturday with our chests out and ready to hopefully bring 3 points back.
I've got to ask you now, whereabouts in London you were raised and born and raised?
I'm not actually raised in London. I'm a South East boy. I'm from Canterbury, but I played Gillingham, and we used to play a lot of London teams, and I moved to Charlton, so I was living in South East London. So I have a little bit of experience in there, but enough for me. I got away from the rough and tumble of London.
So how does the rough and tumble of London compare to being at Hewish and being in and around Yeovil?
It's a fair bit slower down here, I think. Not so many. It's a lot easier to turn out of junctions in Yeovil, I'll say that way. But I think it's a nice. I like the pace of life down here and the togetherness of a community, which probably you don't get in a city. And it is what it is, really.
And I have one more question, which was about squad depth, because at the moment you guys are doing okay injury-wise, not too bad. A few other clubs have picked up quite a few. How big a part is squad depth going to play in this season, not just for you, but for the teams around you?
Yeah, I think firstly we've had a real onus this year on Joe, the physio's done really well, and we brought in Weston in, who's been excellent to add to that kind of department and oversee football. And it's been about getting players on the pitch and making players available to be on the pitch. I think there was times last year we were down to bare bones, and look, I'm sure at some point this season we're going to lose players to injury. That's the life of football. But there's been a real hard work in that department to try and make sure we're managing load during training, managing minutes between some people, and I think that adds to the squad depth. It's a lot easier when you're not relying on. You don't have to rely on the same 11 players that play 44 games. You can kind of take someone out for one, and it stops them missing 4 games. So that squad depth is key, and it's probably a strength we have over other teams in the league due to the calibre of players we have in every position, really. And it's nice to be able to swap it round, search for partnerships what work if something's not quite working, and wait for something to click. And we've got players who will be chomping at the bit to play more games, and I think that only adds healthy competition in the team, and it makes sure when you're on the pitch you know what you need to produce, and you're ready to produce the best you can.
Good. Great.
Thank you. Cheers.